Isolation day 137. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves. It has been an interesting week. So it's 1 week since the Mastering Diabetes online retreat, which was incredible. And as I said to you guys, I was going to post a weekly video now rather than a nightly video. And what I wanted to do was kind of build up a picture of exactly what's happening and then present that to you. So what I promised to do whilst being on the retreat is a number of things. The first one was, clearly I was not consuming enough calories because I was losing so much weight. So I agreed that I was going to consume at least 1700 calories a day. I was also going to fast for 2 days in the week after just to test my background insulin. Other than that, I was going to take my time eating. So apparently this is quite a big part of it, which is, if you're going to consume, let's say 100 grams of carbs, don't do it in 5 minutes, which kind of makes sense really, because you're going to get a big spike, aren't you? So what Robbie described to me was, take your time eating, especially over breakfast where your insulin is a little bit more resistant. So spend perhaps 25-30 minutes eating breakfast, which is unheard of for me, just doesn't happen really. So what I've done this week is I've taken 5 to 10 minutes eating half of my breakfast. I've then waited 10 to 15 minutes and then consumed the rest. All in, we're talking about probably half an hour, just a little bit more. And I think you'll see that actually that's had a pretty good effect. That's pretty much it. So let me show you the results. This is Monday through to Sunday. The days that are highlighted in yellow were the days I was fasting. Calories consumed, 1800, 1700, 2000, 2000, 1900. Apart from obviously a lot lower on the day I fasted, because what I did, and I've described this on a previous video, is when I ate my evening meal on Monday, I fasted for 24 hours and then I was able to eat an evening meal on both Tuesday and Sunday. My carb intake, this is an interesting one, 337, 351, almost 400 grams of carbs. Now, considering I've come from a keto background in the last 5 to 6 years, 400 grams of carbs in a day, I mean, just no chance. That's almost 10 days food for me. So it's incredible really. Now, the important part and the Mastering Diabetes kind of ethos is fat content. If you restrict the fat content, then you become much more insulin sensitive. So let's see if that's the case. Fat in grams. You can see across the days, I've actually gone up to 19.2. Fat in calories. So what you do is you times it by 9. And this gives you the number of calories and the percentage of calories. So this 7% is the 130 divided by the total calories consumed in the day, gives you this percentage. I'm still below the 15%, way below it some days, half of it most days. That's fine. One of the things I was doing was I made sure I consumed potatoes almost every day. And the reason for that is very low in fat, quite high in calories. And for weight loss, not for weight loss, to ensure that I keep my weight on, I found that works really well. I've also just noted here blood tests, number of blood tests I took in the week, 80 in total, 1 above, 33 below. So let me show you what that means. This is the first Medtronic report that I'd like you to see. This is the analysis. You can see that I've got my kind of range slightly tighter than some people have it. I don't particularly like going high, so my range is between 9 and 3.9. I was only above 9 once. And if you consider the carbs that I've consumed in that week, to be above 9 once is an absolute result. Now, also, what I would say is that above 9 was 1 a.m. in the morning. Let's look at the averages. Average blood glucose, 4.6. Average sensor was 6.3, but I had the sensor on barely any time. 33 readings below 3.9. Now, there's a reason for that as well. Normally, I sit at a desk, I'm an accountant by trade, I work in finance, I sit at a desk day in, day out. Well, I actually had some work being done on my garden at home, so I was in the garden doing manual labour, and I ate, and that contributed towards the eating carbs, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But what it did mean is I was going low, and you'll see this in a second. But look, average daily carbs 324. The carb to bolus insulin is 34.4. And look at this split. If you consider that my split of basal initially was 80% and 20% bolus, look at that. It's almost half-half. That's so much better. For a little bit more detail, you can see here, this was the time my blood sugar went to 9.3. Other than that, everyone below. What I would say is, look, I normally have my breakfast between, let's say, 6 and 9 a.m. Have a look after this. There is nothing that's high. 105 grams, 100 grams, 75 grams, 74 grams. Not going high on any of those days. Not spiking. Okay? Even after, so let's look at lunchtime. 114 grams, 101 grams, 61 grams, 90 grams when you add the 46 and the 43, 120 grams. Look at that, 120, then 17, then 30. My blood went from 2.6 to 4.7 to 2.5. Again, what I would do is caveat this by saying, yes, I was working in the garden, yes, I was doing manual work, and that would have affected my bloods. But what I would also say is that generally doesn't affect your spikes. And I haven't really got any spikes here at all. So for me, that is a result. I'd also like to look at a few other bits if that's okay. Susan Coleman, who contacted me on Instagram, I'll put my Instagram handle below. For those of you that don't have it, please feel free to follow me. Susan also attended the Mastering Diabetes retreat, and she's asked the question about my basal rates and my bolus rates. Susan, your question is completely valid, and I've spent pretty much 10 or 11 weeks adjusting both of these, and they change all of the time. But your major concern was over, I think, was over the spikes and eating enough carbs. So what I want to show you is, I want to show you 2 or 3 mornings breakfasts and what I actually consumed, the carb intake and the fat intake. And then I'll also show you my basal rates and my bolus rates. Hopefully that'll help you out, okay? This is NutriCheck, and the reason I use NutriCheck is it's much better in the UK than Chronometer because it recognises a lot of the UK food. I'm certainly not taking anything away from the effectiveness of Chronometer for you guys. Susan, this is my breakfast. You can see on Monday the 27th, so first morning with the new undertakings, the new plan, I thought, sod it, I'm just going to go for this and let's see what happens. Mangoes, there's the serving size, bananas, apples, raspberries, blueberries, grapes, blackberries, cinnamon, easy peelers, which are satsumas, spinach and quinoa. 114 carbs, 5 grams of fat. Now, yeah, that's a significant one. So that was Monday. Fasting on Tuesday. Wednesday, mangoes, apples, easy peelers, so satsumas again, banana, grapes, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, quinoa, pineapple, spinach. Wednesday, same kind of thing. Okay, I really like the fruit in the morning. It really wakes me up and it makes me feel good. So I've got spinach, satsumas, apples, mangoes. Really got into eating mangoes, never had before, and now I know the difference between a ripe mango and a mango that isn't ripe, a hard mango, and they're worlds apart, and they're a really amazing fruit to eat. No wonder the Mastering Diabetes guys love them. Blueberries, strawberries, banana, quinoa. I also ate a crumpet, 85 grams. Nothing wrong. And no hikes, like I said before. So that's that. And Susan, I wanted to also show you my basal insulin pattern, okay? So this was before. This was when I was on keto. This was when I was on keto. You can see my daily consumption, and I do this by the hour. My daily consumption was 27 units, 26 units, and then I went on to the low-fat plant-based whole food via the Mastering Diabetes method, and you can see the reduction. and now I'm down to 12.95 units on the 2nd of August. This is the reduction in basal insulin, so background insulin, nothing to do with the food that I'm consuming, nothing to do with the insulin that I'm consuming to cover the food, but look at that, I'm over 50% reduction, which is incredible really, absolutely incredible. That's pretty much it. I've made some adjustments, and that's what you can do when you're on the pump. You can make these hour by hour adjustments. It's not ideal to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different basal rates. I completely appreciate that. Most people subscribe to 3, but I was finding I had to increase it here because of what I thought was the dawn phenomenon, that actually I think now, subsequently, it's more to do with the fact that I wasn't taking enough background insulin. So that's my basal, and this is my carb ratio over the 24 hours. I've only actually got 2 changes. 32 grams of carbs per unit of insulin, and 39 grams per unit of insulin from 11 o'clock in the day till 12 at night. Whether that is right or wrong still needs some testing, okay? I'm pretty confident my basal rates are good at the moment. This is what I'm going to be spending a bit more time on. And actually, I mean 39, that was originally I was getting 10 grams per unit, okay? And the last thing I wanted to show you was this. Now, I know I've produced loads and loads of information on here. I'm sorry if it's overload, but I'm trying to answer Susan's questions whilst also giving you a full update. This was on keto, okay? So total insulin consumed was 31.5 grams. Carbs consumed was only 56. The carb to insulin ratio, which is what the Mastering Diabetes team look at, was 1.8. Okay, so that's not good. Last week, week 9, 12th of July, so a couple of weeks ago, I was already 500% higher. Now, I'll reanalyze this next week because I think this is enough information at the moment. I hope that was a useful update. I know there was so much information in there. Please break it down if you need to. If you've got any questions whatsoever, put them down in the comments box and I will certainly come back to you. Susan, I hope that was of help to you. If you've got any questions, just let me know, okay? And I'll see if I can answer them. It's still a work in progress for me. You can see how many lows I'm still experiencing. My undertaking this week is to fill out all of the decision trees and to make sure I adjust my carb to insulin ratios in accordance with the decision trees to try and prevent so many lows. The good thing about this week is I'm not spending any amount of time in the garden. I think I've got one day where I'm doing some work in the garden. Other than that, I say a good thing. I'm stuck in this room doing my standard work, which actually isn't a bad thing. So I hope you all have a good week. I will catch up with you in 1 week's time. Please take care. Look after yourselves.